One of the things I really enjoyed about your performance here is the HR face.
I didn't notice it I saw the movie last night. Is it in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You have that kind of...
Like this?
Yeah, exactly like
that. I didn't see it in the movie. I didn't notice it. I was just looking at John.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
The HR face, which is this kind of, that thing, yeah. That's a real, I think people like to look like they're paying attention. But you guys in the interview, I can tell that you guys aren't paying attention.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what I'm having for dinner.
Right, exactly. What are you going to have?
I actually really don't know. I got to feed the
Do
kid.
you live here?
I do.
There's
Not
free
that far.
food here.
There's free food here, yeah.
Yeah, but I got to feed the kid.
Bring some home.
That's what I do. I always bring food.
Get a roadie. Get a road box.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Double
My
up.
wife always gets jealous, so...
Bring some cold potatoes back.
Yeah. I have some potatoes for you in the car.
The idea of living in a cul-de-sac is kind of an interesting idea to me. Have either of you ever lived in that kind of situation?
When you stayed in Atlanta, you were living in a cul-de-sac.
I was.
Yeah.
You
in
did?
fact, yeah. I the house that I was staying in Atlanta was on a cul-de-sac, and in fact, I got to know the neighbors. They were very, very sweet. One of them had a dog that would come visit me all the time, which was great. Guinness was the dog's name. She was very, very cute. And there were a bunch of kids on it, and they all would kind of meet in the middle of the little turnaround and play various sports. It was fun. And I lived on one after college, I think, when I was living with a buddy of mine. It's interesting because, you're kind of like, everyone's kind of looking at everyone else.
Yeah.
And the people the cul-de-sac that we shot in, they were so nice.
That was a real
that was a real neighborhood. It wasn't like a
really?
fakey kind of set or anything. It was a real neighborhood, and
It was a real neighborhood that looked like a set.
Yeah, when we clogged them up for 2 months.
It
was a lot, but they were really, really nice.
Yeah, accommodating.
Well, that can also get tricky. You get in a neighborhood that doesn't want you there. They'll make a note.
Look, when they're shooting in my neighborhood, when they're filming, I'll always yell, "Get out of the neighborhood." Or go back to Hollywood. I love yelling that one. I do it every time I roll down my window and go, "Hey, home slice, Hollywood's that way." I actually had a friend of mine who owed me money. He was living with me. And he's like, "Hey, can you buy me some lunch?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy you some lunch." But they're filming a car commercial across the street. I made him to buy him lunch. He put on a sheet as a cape, ski goggles, and nothing else on. And he rode up in his bike with a cape on and ski goggles. Slams his brake on to the director, goes, "Hey, home slice, Hollywood's," and just biked off.
I really would.
Naked biking is rough.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
tough. That's tough if you get caught in the chain, if you're that lucky.
There's like so many injuries that could happen with that. That's,
boy.
That's like happy birthday to me,
Yeah.
Oh my God. I like the fact that you're doing these kinds of roles. I loved Kimmy Schmidt. I thought that was hilarious. What is the appeal? Obviously, you've done a lot of comedy, and a lot of people know you from Mad Men.
Honestly, the appeal is just working with people whose work I respect in some way, and people with whom I can work who I feel like are better than me at whatever we're doing, or at least challenging in some way. And I think with Kimmy Schmidt, when it came around, I knew Ellie. I had only worked with her very briefly on Bridesmaids, and we knew each other from back home. But Tina and Robert, who were writing the show, I had the ultimate trust and faith in what they do, because they are two of the funniest writers that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And a similar thing happened with Joneses. I mean, I got to know that Greg Mottola was coming on, who I just worked with on Clear History. With Larry David, and I knew his work. Obviously, I was a fan, and Zach and I have known each other for such a long time. It was an opportunity to do something that I had a pretty good feeling was at least going to be really fun, and that's a pretty good thought process in going into a job. It's like, I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.